In this video, I'll explain how to do blob tracking using pops. This project is made up of the following sections: converting a video into points and attribute data, instancing based on the tracking data, creating text based on the tracking data, how to customize the settings. On this channel, I also post short tutorial videos mainly focused on TouchDesigner. I'd be glad if you subscribe to the channel. Project files and exclusive files are also available on Patreon. If you found this tutorial helpful, I would greatly appreciate your support there. We're going to add a movie file in top and load the video that we want to track. We're going to add a resolution top. The purpose of this is to lower the resolution and reduce the processing load when tracking. Here, I'm setting it to 1280 by 720, but please adjust this depending on the aspect ratio of your video. We're going to add a composite top and connect null 1 to input 0. We're going to add a cache top and a cache select top to retrieve the video from a few frames back. Connect the cache select top to input 1 of the composite top, and set the operation to subtract. This allows us to extract the areas where changes have occurred. We're going to add a threshold top and set a threshold for tracking. We're going to use top to pop to convert the pixel information from the top into a form that can be handled as pop points and attribute data. We're going to add a delete pop and delete color, 3. This allows us to extract only the points that we want to track. We're going to add a rectangle pop and a copy pop to make the points renderable. We're going to add a geometry comp and a camera comp, change the camera comp's projection to orthographic, and set ortho width to 1. We're going to add a constant MAT, then drag and drop it onto the geometry comp to assign it as the material. We're going to add a render top. Connect the resolution top to an info chop, and get resks and resay. Move to the common tab of the render top, and reference each of the values you obtained in the resolution parameter. We're going to add a script top. Here is the full code. You can see that the large white points from the render top have been converted into smaller points with color. Connect the render top to a top to POP. Connect it to a delete pop, and delete color, 0. This allows us to extract only the points that we want to track. We're going to add a math mix pop to convert the color information of each point into scale information. In the Uniforms tab, add vector parameters named rectangle min and rectangle scale. Move to the Combine tab. Here, we convert the color information of each point into scale information. We also use rectangle min and rectangle scale to make it possible to adjust the size. We're going to add a rectangle pop and change connectivity to line strips. Connect it to a copy pop, and enter scale in template scale. Move to the Math Mix pop, and change the values of rectangle min and rectangle scale. You can see that the size of each rectangle changes. We're going to add a lookup texture pop and a constant top to add color to the rectangles. Connect the lookup texture pop to the geometry comp. An error will appear, but you can remove the error by dragging and dropping the Geo1 onto the render 1 and selecting Parm, Geometry. We're going to add a render top. Drag and drop the geometry comp onto the render top, move to the Common tab of the render top, and reference Resks and Rese from the info chop. We're going to add a constant MAT. Drag and drop the constant MAT onto the geometry comp. We're going to add a null top. We're going to add a select top. Drag and drop the resolution top onto the top parameter of the select top. We're going to add a composite top and change operation to over. You can see that the tracking is working successfully. To create a visual where each point is connected with lines, we're going to add a proximity POP. We're going to add a lookup texture pop and a constant top to add color to the lines. Connect the lookup texture pop to the geometry comp. We're going to add a render top, and drag and drop it in the same way as before. Move to the Common tab of the render top, and reference Resks and Rese from the info chop. Connect the render top to the composite top, and change its input order so that select 1 is placed at the bottom. Drag and drop the constant MAT onto the geometry comp. Adjust the values of the math mix pop and the threshold top. Connect the delete pop, delete 2, to a pop to DAT. Turn on transpose to change the way the data is arranged. This is done so the data can be used in the text top later. We're going to add a DAT to chop. We're going to add a rename chop, and enter ID, X, and Y. We're going to add a select chop, select ID, and rename it to text. This is done so that the data can be read by the text top later after converting it back to a DAT. We're going to add 2 select chops, and select X and Y separately. Now we'll convert the coordinate data obtained from pops into coordinate data that can be used in tops. Connect a math chop to the select chop, and enter the expression shown on screen. Connect a math chop to the select chop, and enter the expression shown on screen. We're going to add a merge chop, and connect select 2, math 1, and math 2. Connect it to a chop to DAT, and turn on include names. Connect it to a null DAT. We're going to add a text top, and drag and drop the null DAT onto specification DAT. Move to the font tab, and enter the desired text size in font size X. Move to the common tab, and reference resks and rese from the info chop. Connect the text top to the composite top, and move it so that it becomes the top input. You can see that the text is displayed at coordinates based on the tracking. When you change the threshold value to 1, you can see that 0 is displayed in the center of the screen. This happens when the tracking data is empty. Now we'll set this up to solve that issue. We're going to add a table DAT. Move to the Fill tab, and enter 2 for rows and 3 for columns. Enter the text shown on screen into the table DAT. Connect the table DAT and the chop to DAT to the switch DAT. At this point, make sure that the table DAT is input 0, and the chop to DAT is input 1. Connect the switch DAT to the null DAT. Connect the info chop to the chop to DAT. Enter number_rows in scope. When chop_1 does not contain any tracking data, in other words, when chop_1 has 2 rows, we want to output 0. Otherwise, we want to output 1. To do this, we're going to add an expression chop and enter 0 if me.inputVal == 2 else 1. Change the threshold top value, and confirm that the text is displayed only when tracking is active. You can change the information displayed as text from channel names in the select chop, select 2. You can change the appearance of the lines by adjusting the values in the proximity pop. Adding a blur top between the composite top and the threshold top may change the accuracy of the tracking.